Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. You're listening to the Little Things in Life podcast.
Welcome. Oh, see, that wasn't hard, was it?
That is the first time I've introduced it, and it feels really weird.
Well, normally I think it was more of like a... Well, yeah, no, it was pretty much me.
Yeah, it
but
was
no, I
you.
think the first episode, was it not a bit more mixed?
No.
Oh, no, because you were... Well...
I'm pretty sure I distinctly said, well, you're taking control.
Yeah, well... Oh, yes.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 4. Oh, sorry!
I really am
Sorry,
taking
this
control.
is my podcast. No. Welcome to episode 4 of our podcast.
Yes. Another week gone.
Well, actually, the week hasn't gone.
No.
It's actually 5 days since our last recording.
Yes, the time is 3:35 on a
Wednesday
Wednesday afternoon. Since
Yeah.
in the last podcast where we said that both of us wanted to sort of drop out of uni and become full-time podcasters, uni has been cancelled and we've kind of become full-time podcasters and we really don't like it.
No, we like becoming full-time podcasters.
But we don't like that under the circumstances in which
No.
we sort of become full-time podcasters.
We have been forced into this situation.
Yes. There's nothing to clarify though from
last
week's episode, which means we are getting better at them, at delivering the podcast.
People are recognising my name and my voice now.
And
Literally going into the city centre last week, they're like, "What? It sounds like Katie Barr." Like, it is me.
good God. But we are on Spotify, and I think we might have been on Spotify for quite a long time.
No, we need more excitement than this.
We are on Spotify.
We are now on Spotify, and this is a big deal
It
because
is.
it's what most people use, like, for podcasts.
Yeah, and we
It's
have
just so much easier.
we have had a lot more listeners since. Well, I think a lot more people have been listening to it since we've been put on Spotify. But yeah, it was a bit of an awkward one because we emailed our man Sloan.
That's the one.
Saying, how come we're not on Spotify yet? And he was like, oh, yeah, you are. And it just turned out that because no one had listened to it, it was really hard to find. But
yeah, that's
we're on
the one.
Spotify. The Little Things in Life podcast. I think if you use quotation marks, it's easier to find.
But if
when
not,
you type it in.
on our Instagram.
But yeah, there are links all over our social media.
There really are.
But yeah, no, keep on listening.
So following last week's episode, we decided to put on the Instagram last week's question. So if you could live in any era, which one would it be and why? And we got quite a few responses. Quite happy about that. So Eileen Cowley, she said she would like to have lived in the 80s because it's like the 60s but with more rights. Quite like that.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
I like the thinking behind that.
It's not really. Yeah, I suppose that's not really something when boys think about their history that they have to really think about. Actually. But,
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. So rate that. Nick Bold. So he said about the 50s, and he was sort of saying about James Dean that it makes living in the 50s a fantasy. And he also touched.
It's like the aesthetic.
What?
The aesthetic of gelled back hair.
Yes, he said about that. And also living straight after the war and how life would be then, which is a valid point.
Oh, that's fair.
And then we also had Rebecca Phillips. She said in 1789, "Viva la Révolution."
That is weird though. Why would you want to live in the?
I don't know.
The beginning of the French Revolution. I mean, I suppose that'd be. Oh, I suppose actually it would be quite interesting to like see it, but it would be quite a scary time to live through.
Yeah.
Les Mis.
Yes.
Stuff.
Yeah. Actually.
Maybe she just wanted to see. What's his name? Who's the actor in Les Mis?
I've not seen Les Mis.
Oh.
Les Miserables.
Hugh Jackman.
Oh, okay. We also have Josh Sharp. He said 90s Britpop, Oasis v Blur, which...
Agreed with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then Josh Finch said probably Victorian times, working with trains or something, cause trains are cool.
Wow. Each to their own. Fair enough. We said we didn't like the Victorian ages though.
Yeah, no, I would not.
I suppose work if you love trains, it doesn't get much better than the 19th century.
So true. So Thomas, how was your week? Go on, tell us all about it.
My week hasn't been too bad. Well, it's been a bit weird, but no, last weekend was good. We made the most of the weekend despite Green Velvet being cancelled. Went on a little bar crawl Friday.
So you did.
Around the northern quarter, went to Lost in Tokyo, which was a really cool bar.
Good vibes in there. I really liked it.
And then Night and Day Cafe, and my favourite was Crazy Pedro's. That was at the pizza place. But yeah, no, that was really good.
Yeah, that was. I don't know why we've not been there before.
With Danny and Becky, yeah. And then on Saturday, obviously, because Green Velvet was cancelled, we instead we went for brunch in Northern Quarter in the Common.
Yes.
That was really, really good. Again, a place that we'd never been before. And then one of my favourite bands, or at least a few years ago, one of my favourite bands, like first saw them opening for Always at the Roundhouse, and then I've seen them at odd festivals since then. Were playing Soup Kitchen.
Very small venue.
Spinning Coin, yeah. You were definitely, well, we were the youngest there.
I was definitely the youngest.
Yeah, quite good too. I don't know if it was the virus or just the bad.
The virus.
But no, Spinning Coin. My favourite track of theirs is Running with the World. Absolutely beautiful track. Managed to speak to the lead singer and shook his hand and said, "Oh, I'm a big fan of the band and I'm a big fan of that song." And, but yeah, no, that was really good. And then ended up going to Turtle Bay and up back to our old haunts, Funkademia.
Oh, we do love a good bit of Funkademia.
Yeah, so we did end up. I was wrong last week. I said that might have been the last time we ever go.
Yeah.
But well, as a house. But no, we did
met some of the German lot.
Did end up going back, and yeah, it was such a good night that it ended up with one of us being sick on our own floor.
And that wasn't me, so.
I want to say that. Yeah.
I knew you were gonna try and blame it on me.
Oh, you know me too well. And then obviously Sunday was we just had a nice chilled day. Just kicking around the house, obviously, but yeah, other than that, the week's been quite weird because of all the stuff that's been going on. Yeah. I thought we ought to mention it. Mm-hmm. Yes, obviously this time last week we never really predicted quite this turn of events, and we thought we may as well say something regarding what's dominating the news and probably going to dominate the news for the coming months. And I don't want to sound preachy or anything, but obviously we do have, especially since people started listening through Spotify and things like that, we do have, albeit a relatively small audience, but it's a chance just to talk to our friends using this platform, talk to a lot of people at once. These are quite worrying times. I think it's probably the biggest crisis in our lifetimes. Mm-hmm. And it's all a bit surreal with no one really knowing what's going on. And this virus is affecting everyone in a variety of different ways, with like unis being cancelled, parties and events and festivals being cancelled, people having to go off without us having an opportunity to say goodbye to them, like literally in the space of a few days. But people's health is more important. These things can be rescheduled, and at times, the news might get a bit too much for people. There's a lot of scary scenarios, scary numbers being thrown around. But we are a country of pushing 70 million people, so a very small percentage is still, like, in the grand scheme of things, going to be severely affected. And there's lots of positives coming out from various places. China looks to be way past the worst of the infection. France are introducing a lot of very impressive social welfare support for people, and I think the West is now matching that, with Boris Johnson yesterday saying £350 billion is going to be made available for people with who are like their own bosses, people with small businesses, obviously, because these are very tough times. And what we basically want to do with this podcast is more or less just provide a distraction from that, basically. I think even at times, even I've thought, I can't check Twitter anymore, I can't check the news, it's all getting a bit, it all gets a bit much after a while. But with these podcasts, if you feel the same, if you want a bit of normality, whack on a podcast, because it is just half an hour of us chatting shit, basically. And continue to send us in things to talk about. We're going to try and continue to do episodes somehow. I'm sure we will find some way to carry on doing this, even if we're not in the same building.
It's fine. I'll get my private jet to come to Bury.
I was going to say, well, I think it's more dependent on how good the Welsh Wi-Fi is. But yeah, we've got quite a backlog of good episodes and things that we want to talk about. And use this time isolating, although it's not ideal. Use this time to spend with your families and friends. Do things that you always wanted to do but never had the time to get around to do. Whether it's learning a new hobby, reading books if you're not a particular fan of reading books, Katie. Recording that rock album that's going to turn you into the next Mick Jagger. But also look out for others. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Stay inside as much as possible. Don't take risks, and listen to the experts and listen to what people are saying and take it seriously. It's as much about not being able to spread things to others as it is not contracting things yourself. But yeah, think of others. Don't panic buy. There's always going to be enough to go round. As humans, we've overcome worse, and we'll overcome this. And when we do, everything that's unfortunately been cancelled we'll be able to enjoy in the future. And although at times we might seem quite divided, I think this is something that everyone's united in, just wanting to get over and getting pretty sick of it. But yeah, I think the main thing is look out for others. Maybe help out with charities, do some volunteering. Ask how your friends are doing in the social media age.
That's what we're very lucky we can stay in touch.
It's very easy to stay connected. Yeah, just if you're worried about someone or if you want to talk to someone, it's very easy to do that. It's a lot easier than it ever was. And yeah, especially ask how other people are doing, because I know I'm someone who I'll never really say what's on my mind unless someone really asks me about it. But here at the podcast, either through the podcast or me and Katie individually, Katie and I. Feel free to send us suggestions for new episodes, or just if you just want to chat. Both of us are signed into all the social media pages. We'll be here to talk.
And believe you me, we can talk.
Yeah, for a very long
Great
time.
Britain, yeah.
But yeah, every little helps at this time. A few months down the line, though, it'll all blow over. It'll all be fine. We'll be looking back at this and being like, wow, that was just a very weird time. But let's do all the things that we wanted to do. But that's that out of the way. Without further ado, let's get in to the filling that is the baguette of the Little Things in Life podcast. We're talking about boob jobs today.
No, we're not. Well, you just ruin it. So, this week, it was sort of my idea that we've gone along with. And I think it's quite an interesting one. I think you think it's quite an interesting one as well. We wouldn't do it if we didn't both find it interesting.
I think, yeah, this was a sort of when we first thought of the podcast, I expected to be doing more things like we're doing now.
Yeah. Well, this week's question. Is social media the driving force behind cosmetic surgery?
Ooh.
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 So...
You've had some work done.
Had a couple of jobs done, Why do you think I look this good?
Well, I knew it wasn't natural, to be fair.
No. So, the reason I think I find this so interesting is because I, myself, have had a nose job, also known as a rhinoplasty, for those who don't know the technical term. Back in 2011, Nicholas, my brother, if he listens to this, he will know I'm talking about it, so I'm not going to tell him. He accidentally broke my nose with a rugby ball. He kicked the rugby ball and it hit my nose. I believe it was entirely his fault. He thinks it's my fault. There's never been a proper apology.
This is only one side of the story. No, there's two sides to every story. Yeah, just like calling it now from Wales. No.
So anyway, so my nose was broken from then, and believe you me, well, for me it was very, very noticeable. And I'm not gonna lie, it like every time I looked in the mirror really, or I wore my glasses, I could tell like I had this wonky nose, and I hated it. Like I really hated it. But I managed to on the NHS get well, this is plastic surgery, not cosmetic surgery.
What is the difference?
So, plastic surgery is used to repair and reconstruct missing or damaged tissue and skin, whereas cosmetic is solely to change a healthy person's appearance.
Just to clarify for those who don't know.
Now that's interesting for us because we didn't know.
Yeah,
either.
no, to be fair, yeah.
So the main aim of plastic surgery, the difference is it's restoring function of tissues and skin to as close as normal as possible. And then secondly, it's improving the appearance. So obviously cosmetic is more about what it looks like.
Yeah. But I think there is a region of overlap between the two, obviously.
Yes.
You say?
But when I had mine, so obviously mine was plastic surgery, the key was I couldn't breathe properly.
You're a bit like a pug.
I suppose you could say that. TBA, I'm not a dog. So I couldn't breathe properly, so that was the reason I had it done. But the doctor did sort of say to me, like, is it cosmetic? And if I'd have said yes, like, it would have been fine for me. Not like the way he said it. Obviously, my breathing was an issue, but he was like, is it, does it affect you? And I was like, well, yeah, it does.
When you got hit in the face, like immediately after getting hit in the face with the rug, what happened then?
I ran home and cried.
But did you know, like, this is messed up, like, this has broken my nose, it's messed up my face?
Well, it was actually a couple of years later, someone at school accidentally bashed me in the nose, and I couldn't taste or smell. And
oh my god.
Yeah, sorry, I left that little bit out. That was when I went to the doctors and I was like, look, I can't taste or smell. And then managed to get it done. So I had just turned 17, so I was quite young when I had it, and they didn't want to do it at the age of 16. And I think a lot of people don't know what they think about younger people having it done, because when you're younger, you're not fully developed and everything.
Yeah, you're still growing.
Yeah, exactly. And on the BBC, I was reading about plastic surgery, and what was it? The British Association of Aesthetic Plastic Surgeons. Go
on, what's the abbreviation?
BAPS.
BAPS.
BAAPS, so like BAPS. So it claims younger patients can be vulnerable and often have self-esteem issues. So that's why a lot of people get it done for cosmetic reasons. And it was saying, young people are still immature, vulnerable, and it's too big of an operation with too many potential lifelong implications. But there are so many young people that want things done. But I sort of think of myself, would I have paid to have my nose done at some point? Like if I hadn't have, had it done because I couldn't breathe. And I think I probably would have.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was a big deal to me. And I mean, I was 11 when it happened, when it happened. But then as I was getting older, I was realizing, wow, this is a wonky nose. I'm like,
wow.
Wow.
As you're gasping for air, this is a wonky nose.
And I didn't. I think my confidence, I was aware. I just felt like people were looking at my nose. I was aware of my nose anyway. A lot of people say to me, like, they didn't realise that I had this wonky nose. And obviously, like, when I had it done, people, like, noticed the difference. But beforehand, they had never really noticed. But whereas that's all I noticed on my face.
And but it definitely made you happier, and it was worth. Obviously, it's quite a nasty surgery.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's how long were you in hospital for?
The operation was like, I think it was 2 hours, but I was in overnight. I think I got up too fast and I had to stay in overnight and stuff. Yeah, poor old me. But I, had general anaesthetic, woke up. People react differently to, have you been under general anaesthetic before?
No, I never have. That's probably, that's another thing I'd be quite scared of.
Really?
Another fear. Yeah, no, I've never, I've had local, but no, actually, no, I don't even think I've had local. Well, like numbing cream and stuff, but that's not.
I had numbing, because I was only 17, I had numbing cream for the cannula.
Yeah, and like the spray as well.
Yeah. But I remember being told, how you could react. Like when you wake up, some people get angry, some people just cry.
Yeah. There's those great videos of those people who are really like out of it, just
yes.
chatting absolute crap in front of their parents about things. Yeah.
Well, I woke up and I was just shivering, like I was freezing, and they had to just get loads of warm blankets on me. And then when I was like all right. I was just waving along in my bed like a queen. I felt amazing. It felt good.
Did at any point through it, did you think maybe I just shouldn't have bothered?
No.
Really? Okay.
No.
That's good, I suppose. That's and
Yeah.
like never since then. Since then you've been like, that's definitely the right. I suppose if you like, I would have paid for it. It's definitely been.
Oh
you
yeah,
feel like
definitely.
It was the right decision.
But I think I did it for the right reasons. I did it for me.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
because that's interesting. When like we're talking about the reasons to do it. When we were talking off air.
Yeah.
Well, what were you going to say just then?
Well, like, social media wise, I wouldn't say I'm influenced that much by social media in terms of like, I wasn't thinking, if I post this on Instagram or whatever, people are going to be looking at my nose. Like, I think now Instagram is used more and people might react differently.
Yeah.
Like when I don't know, I think there's been such a difference now in the use of social media over the past few years. Like Instagram's used so much more, Snapchat, and like when you're using this social media, you're seeing yourself a lot more and you're criticising yourself a lot more.
It's entirely based, yeah, it's all just your own sort of aesthetic.
Exactly,
basically.
and what people are posting on the majority of social media is what they want you to see. They want to be looking nice, like and posting the best pictures of themselves, which isn't reality really. But I think it is, so you can understand why people are influenced by social media so much.
It does work the other way around though, to be fair, because I remember, I don't know, it's the other day we were looking at someone's social media, and I said it was Danny on the bus to drinks on Friday. We were looking at someone's social media, and I was like, she actually looks better in real life than she does in her social media. So it does work. It does definitely work.
It does
both ways. But when I look at pictures of you before having your nose done, I do definitely think it's an improvement now. But I don't know if that's just me because I've only ever seen you now.
Yeah.
And I'd never used to seeing you then, because I also know a lot of people who have had lots of like minor things, whether it's been like lip fillers, having their people have their ears pinned back slightly more.
Yeah.
I know other people who've had nose jobs, and I look at them now and I'm like, I'm not saying they look bad, but it's because you've been so used to them looking a certain way for such a long time. I think not so much with getting their ears pinned back because that's very subtle, but things like lip fillers and nose jobs. To be fair, lip fillers are for the most part quite subtle.
Yeah.
You're sort of like, it's just they look different now.
Yeah.
And because you knew them looking different before, I'm not saying they necessarily look bad, but it is like, it is a change. Like their appearance has changed.
Yeah, I mean, my face has changed, but it's also difficult to say because I have grown up a bit more.
Yeah, so like
it was a weird, I'd literally just turned 17. I think it was like 12 days after I'd turned 17. So I hadn't long been 16. So I think even the doctors, I think, were like, you're quite young to be having it.
Yeah. Well, I think I don't know. I think you're sort of getting towards the higher bracket.
Yeah, true.
Being sort of too young.
But with all these procedures, there are a lot of risks, and I had, like, before I had it done, I had like sheets, like a booklet of all these facts and figures, telling you what could happen. There's this out of so many people, this could happen, that could happen. And reading that, I was a bit like, my gosh, like this is serious. And so many people told me before my operation, oh, I've seen nose jobs before, have you watched any on YouTube? I was like, no, and I'm not going to watch any. And since having it done, I think at Christmas I was with my brother and I just saw something on BBC Three on iPlayer called Plastic Surgery Undressed, and oh my gosh, you get to see someone have a nose job. You get different people there watching, people who want a nose job, and they're watching an operation live, and this is to see if it's going to sway them. And what they did is exactly what happened to me. And if I'd have watched that before having my operation, I don't know if I would have had it done.
Oh, really? Yeah, I was gonna,
because like that, I went hot. I was sweating a bit. Peter, my brother, he was like, Katie, like, why are you still watching this? Like, please just like turn it off. I was like, Peter, this has happened to me. Like, it was really, really interesting. But also at the same time, I was like, that has happened to my nose.
Yeah, that's not something I'd obviously recommend people to do. That's not too different to watching plane crashes before you go on a plane.
Well,
but you would have expected it to have been like that, surely. You would have known, because like
obviously I was fully aware of like
it's quite a horrific surgery.
Yeah,
cutting your face open and moving your nose about.
Yeah, I was fully aware like what they were going to do, but why would I freak myself out and you know make myself more, you know, I was a bit nervous beforehand, but it was something that I knew I wanted done and needed done.
But I think that's quite interesting though, because we were talking about doing it for the right reasons earlier, and I think there is a very fine line between sort of like potentially the wrong reasons and the right reasons. But I just can't imagine. I can't imagine people being. Would people put themselves through surgery like that for the wrong reasons? It's like, you know, would they force that upon themselves out of their own will? Because pleasing others, I think, is a huge part of pleasing yourself.
Yeah, I think people need like the gratification from others.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that is literally human nature. I think I think it's probably been made more significant with social media. But that's always existed. In nature, that exists.
Yes, but this is an extreme level of, you know, if people aren't happy, like if people in the UK wanted a nose job, that's like minimum £4,000. It's like £4,000 to £7,000 or something like that on average.
Did you have to provide any kind of proof that it's because you can't breathe, or did you just say it's because you struggle breathing?
Well, I'd been to the doctors. And the doctor had like looked down my nose. I actually had to have a scan to see if I had brain damage.
Oh my god.
Yeah. You wonder why I'm so smart.
I was going to say, something must have come back.
So I had a what scan? I don't think.
MRI.
I think.
CAT.
Oh, I can't remember. It was really loud.
Were you lying on your back and going for a donut thing?
Yeah, it was that. Like it was quite, you know. I think quite. It was nerve-wracking for my mum.
It's CAT scans are like that. I don't know. Well, I think MRI or CAT, I don't know.
But so I had a scan. You'll be happy to hear I do not have brain damage. To repeat, I do not have brain damage. That was because when I got hit, they were worried that the bone had like gone up and like hit my sort of like caused some disruption or something. I don't know.
What did the doctor say though when you went to him before? So this was. The timeline is hit in the face with a ball. In
2011. Doctors in 2015.
So you didn't go to the doctors...
When I had it broken?
No. Okay.
I just lived with a broken nose.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. But then when I was like whacked in the face... Again.
It aggravated it.
Yeah. And that's why I get so much stress and anxiety when people are throwing things around.
Yeah.
That's why I'm there like, oh my god. But no, the doctor was he properly checked out my nose and he could tell that I couldn't breathe properly. And also my mum if she tried to cook specific meals that were really spicy or like with a lot of flavour, she was like, oh, what do you think? And I was like, oh, well, like, I can't, I'm sorry, but I can't actually taste much. And she was like, are you kidding me?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So the most important thing, is I can taste and I can smell now.
Yeah.
And it is really good. I do feel more confident after having the operation.
Yeah, I suppose.
And I think that
is the main thing.
And I think if that is what people are doing it for, if they're wanting to feel confident in themselves and comfortable in themselves, then that's good. But if people are doing it for others, so other people can. I think you make yourself feel better knowing that you're knowing that maybe not you're pleasing others, but if you feel attractive, if you feel like you look good, that's obviously going to make you really happy. And this ties into what Becky was talking about the other day. Becky sent us a list of suggestions she wanted us to talk on the podcast. One of her questions was, are there benefits in life of being like are attractive people? What was the exact phrase? What are the benefits of being attractive in life? Do they have an unfair advantage, attractive people in life? And I think that's definitely true. I've got it saved on my phone. But yeah, I think this does all tie in. Do attractive people have advantages others don't?
Yeah, I definitely because you obviously definitely in certain careers, like music, acting, it's a huge amount of that's just based on not necessarily how good your music or how good your acting is. Obviously, that plays a significant part, but a lot of it is based upon your looks. And I think there's like everyone judges books by the cover. Everyone, like whether they like to admit it or not, everyone makes like stereotypes, has preconceptions of people.
And that even like before uni, everyone in our flat before we moved in
based everyone off how they looked on Instagram.
Yeah,
and I got everyone but Daniel so wrong. Daniel turned out to be pretty much exactly how I imagined him to be. But I think I want to talk about quickly things like earrings and tattoos, because although those aren't surgery, those are forms of relatively extreme ways of changing your body to please other people, and those have been normalised.
But to please other people,
and yourself. I think those are very similar things.
I have not got my piercings to please anyone else but myself. Like I have not.
Are they pleasing you because you think you look nicer with them?
Yeah, I really.
Yeah,
like
so
them.
that is.
But I'm not doing it in terms of like, oh.
Okay, yeah, maybe I worded that wrong. But yeah, no, but it is quite an extreme length to alter your own appearance, like putting holes in your own skin. And people have been doing that for years. And things like tattoos, like obviously, would you ever get a tattoo? Oh, you.
Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah.
I don't know what. I don't know where, but I think I would.
Yeah.
Can you give blood if you have a tattoo?
I don't know. Probably. Surely. I don't know. But those have definitely been normalised. And I think maybe now with things like Instagram, things like lip fillers and...
Even with lip fillers, like adverts that come up on my phone, like on Instagram, a lot are lip fillers.
Yeah, I think, those I think are becoming more and more normalised.
Yeah, they are. Like in all, like at home, like in the salons, like in hair salons, they're now getting like beauticians in, like doing lips and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think if that's what people want to feel more confident, I can say myself, like I've had my nose done, had a nose job.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of there is stigma though regarding it, because when you first said let's do an episode on plastic surgery, I just had straight away in my head images of like celebrities who've had really bad plastic surgery.
Yeah.
I don't know who's this. It's not the there's one like that fashion designer. I've forgotten her name, but people who've got like quite deformed faces because of the amount of plastic surgery. And I was like, that, as soon as I think of plastic surgery, I think of that. But then when we look at the definition of plastic surgery, it's actually a way of like using plastic and having surgery in order to improve. It's more medical. It's not. Whereas cosmetic is more purely appearance.
My nose is literally just reconstructed, and then I believe it's just stuck to, like this middle.
You can't see a scar. Though to be fair, I was looking earlier, when you like lift your head back up, you can. I think I can see something. Yeah, but it is very subtle. And yeah, it's not like you can't. No one can tell you've had that done. But yeah, I think one thing I've learned from this episode is don't just immediately think of plastic surgery as people having facelifts to look younger, because obviously that's not what you had.
No, that's not what you had. I just think there's a lot more to it than people think.
Yeah, definitely.
I would say there is a bit of a stigma around it.
And I think social media does drive it, but I wouldn't say that's necessarily a bad thing. Obviously people should be comfortable in their own skin, but I don't think it's... I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to tattoos. I don't think I'd get a tattoo. But sometimes I see them and I'm like, oh yeah, they look decent. I don't know. I just don't think I'm too indecisive to have something permanently put on me.
Should we get a Little Things in Life podcast tattoo?
Oh, maybe
it could be a bunch of melons with some tattoos.
Oh, if our first guest will be the first person to get a Little Things in Life tattoo, you will be on the show without a doubt. No, but yeah, do you think social media is driving?
I think yes.
Yeah,
I do.
Do you think that's a bad thing?
I
think because we're sort of the generation. We are that generation. I think maybe we.
I just think
have to say it's not a bad thing.
I think that as long as people are doing it for the right reasons, if people are seeing like what could be done, someone might have been aware of something for a long time and think something can be done. Like now they're like more aware of what they can do about it. If they want to alter things and feel more confident, I think that's fair enough. But I don't think it should be normalised. Like, she's just, she's had a lips. I don't know. I think it's a really.
I think our generation's perspective is because we know people who've had it.
Yeah, and it is normalised.
Yeah, I reckon older generations probably look down on it horrified, but if it makes you feel better about yourself, exactly, that I think that's the most important thing. Yeah, you've got to sometimes you just got to think of yourself and think you've got to do what makes you happy. And I don't think someone's going to put themselves through that horrific surgery when they don't want to, just to please someone else. I think it's going to be. I think like it's the same with like people who like want to have gender realignment surgery. No one's going to put themselves through that unless they knew it's the right thing to do, and that's going to make them happier.
But I think social media plays a part in influencing why people do it.
Only do it if you want to. You're all beautiful.
Oh, that's brought a tear to my eye. And after those lovely words of wisdom, I think we've come to the end of this podcast.
Yes, what a thought-provoking episode.
Yeah, I agree. I've really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, thank you all for listening. Hopefully we'll obviously keep on sending your suggestions in, and hopefully we'll see you all very soon when this is all blown over. We'll have a pint at Squirrels when it reopens. The Squirrel.
Oh, be quiet.
Yes, no. Thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you very much. It means more than you'll ever know.
We've been the Little Things in Life podcast.
He's been Tom.
She's been Katie. See you next week.
Catch you on the flip-flop.
Stay safe.